everyone, and welcome to Help Me BJD episode 8, Buying on the Secondhand Market. So there's been a big gap between this video and the last one. Don't really have much to say about it, so we'll just go on. Some doll forums have places where you can buy and sell your used dolls. I only have experience with the marketplace on Den of Angels. And on this forum, you need to make a certain number of posts before you can participate in the marketplace. But once you've done that, you can go ahead and do it. But why would you want to buy secondhand? Isn't new better? Well, you'd be surprised. There are several reasons to buy secondhand. And here they are. Oftentimes, a certain sculpt is just no longer available from the company that it comes from anymore. There are a lot of reasons for that. It could be that it was a limited sculpt, that it's a limited version of that sculpt with maybe a special face-up or outfit or skin tone or something. It could be that the company closed. So sometimes this is the only way to get that doll is from someone who bought it already. Moe-chan here would be an example. You have to buy her from someone else now because the Moe sets are sold, they're done with. You have to get them from someone who bought it from Volks. Sometimes you'll find a doll secondhand for cheaper than it was from the company. Sometimes people have a financial emergency and they need the money right away, so they will mark down their doll to entice people to buy it. Sometimes it's, car trouble, vet bills. Often it's vet bills. Just, life stuff. It happens. So if you keep your eyes open, you can save some money on a sculpt you wanted by using the secondhand market. Instant gratification. The thing about dolls is when you order one new, it can take anywhere from, 2 months to 8 months, sometimes longer. Usually it takes about 2 to 3 months for a new doll to get to you. There are exceptions. Blue Fairy, for example, will send you a doll within a week of you buying it, provided it's not a special limited, if it's just one of their normal lineup. But for the most part, you'll get a doll way faster if you buy it secondhand because it's made, it's just sitting in the person's house, and they just send it right over to you. Cheaper shipping. International shipping, to send a doll via EMS, it can cost about $50, sometimes more. If someone lives in Spain and you live in America and they tell you EMS shipping is going to cost $50, they are not ripping you off. That's what it costs. So if the person lives in your country, then you can ship that same doll for about, anywhere from $10 to $20. Depends on the size of the doll. It could be more, it could be less. So you can save a significant amount of money this way. And also if you're living in a country where customs charges to receive dolls, if you get it from someone within your company, you avoid those custom fees. Rescuing. Some people enjoy adopting a doll that's no longer wanted in their home. It can be kind of like adopting an animal that no one else wants. This isn't really an enticement for me, but some people do feel that they are doing good by adopting a doll secondhand. As you can imagine, there are also certain dangers involved. I'm here to teach you how to reduce your likelihood of suffering from one of these dangers. So, what are some bad things that can happen to you if you buy secondhand? For one, the doll might not be as advertised. It might be damaged in ways that weren't mentioned. You may send the seller money and they may never send you a doll. Obviously that's bad. The doll might not be authentic. There are a lot of bootleg or resculpt dolls where someone will take the doll and basically copy it, make it out of inferior materials and sell it. And if someone buys one of those and tries to sell it to you as if it were actually from the company, I can understand being pretty upset about that. You can also end up buying dolls you weren't planning on because the deal is good or because you feel bad for them. They look like sad little puppies or something. So you have to watch out for that. And another thing that could happen is you might not really be aware of how much the doll ought to cost, especially if it's a rare doll, and you might get ripped off. So how do you protect yourself? The most important thing is to check the feedback. Doll forums, like DOA, they create confidence within a community via a system of feedback. Every time you have a transaction, both the buyer and the seller should rate how it went. I myself have about 4 pages of feedback, and you want to check that every single one of them is good. Don't just skim, don't just, I mean, you should speed read, because otherwise you'll spend forever reading it, but don't just look at maybe 1 page of the several, because there might be a bad review you're missing. So read it all, skim it. You want it to all be glowing. If there happens to be one bad message in a sea of good ones, feel free to politely ask the person what happened with that, because sometimes people are just jerks and they'll make a fuss, leave bad feedback because they're mean. So look into it if you see one bad review in a sea of glowing ones. But make sure you ask politely, because the person might still be kind of raw about it. So these are the things you want people to say about a seller. The item was as they described. They were shipped in a timely manner and packaged well. Those are your biggest concerns. Now you have to check the listing for the doll very, very carefully. Here's what you're looking for. Lots of clear pictures. If the pictures are blurry, dark, or non-distinct, that's cause for suspicion. Also, the doll should be nude in the picture, at least one of the picture, from both the front and the back, because clothes might be hiding stains, cracks, and just in general other kinds of damage. You need details from the seller. What exactly are you getting? There may be items in the pictures that you're not receiving. You need a clear description of any damage the doll has, ideally with pictures of the damage. And you need to know if the doll is yellow, does it have scratches, is the face-up in good condition, does it have the face-up that's in the picture, etc., etc. Authenticity. I already told you about recasts. They're a big problem. Unfortunately, most companies don't send their dolls with COAs. Peepos does. That's good. And most people don't keep the original box, so it can be difficult to prove the doll you're selling is from where it came from. You have to use your best judgment. If the person is trustworthy, then, good feedback. Generally, they're not going to be selling you a bootleg and a recast and saying that it's, legitimate. Seller location and shipping methods. Ideally, the seller should live in your country, so you receive the doll quickly, and so your shipping costs are low, and so you avoid customs fees. If you haven't seen my other videos, if you live in the States, you don't have to worry about custom fees, no matter what country you're buying from. If you live in the States, priority mail should take 2 to 3 days. It's very reliable. I've never had a problem with it. However, first class, and especially parcel post, it can take forever. Seriously, it can take weeks, even like a month or 2 for parcel post. So I would consider priority within the States. And you should always track it. Again, this is just the States. I live here. I don't really know about how much shipping costs in other countries. But tracking only costs 75 cents. It's also called delivery confirmation. And this way you always know where the package is. So if you lose it, if it gets lost, at least you know where it last was. And from the seller's point of view, if the item has delivery confirmation, the buyer can't say, oh, I never received it, because you can see that they did. So the 75 cents, it is a good call. International shipping is pricey, as I said. Usually you should only ship buy from someone who lives in a different country than you if that's the only way to get the doll, or they've priced the doll low enough that you're not paying extra, more than you should be paying to just order it new. EMS shipping is the fastest. It takes about 3 days. 3 days. It comes with tracking and $100 of insurance. You can buy more insurance for extra money. If you're shipping a package from country A to country B, you can buy yourself tracking in country A, but country B didn't receive any of that money to track your package, so they're not going to do it. Your updates are going to stop once it hits the border. However, if you get EMS, the tracking continues throughout. It's an international effort. So for international packages, EMS is what I recommend, even though it is expensive. You can also do priority, which is, it's still pretty fast. I guess like 5 to 7 working days. So, you know, it's up to you. Make sure you know how you want to ship the doll and that the seller clearly understands your request. You're the one paying, so unless your request is unreasonable, the seller should cater to you. As a note, shipping is cheaper if the seller takes apart the doll for you, because suddenly this doll like this, the parts can fit into a box like this instead of like that. So the box is smaller. So if the seller is comfortable taking it apart and you're comfortable putting it together, you might want to request that they take the doll apart. You should also know that a lot of companies send their dolls in decorative boxes that are bigger than they really absolutely need to be. So you might want to ask that they use a smaller box than the company box. Oh, hi cat. You want to be in my video? No? Want to stay down there? Okay. Usually I throw away all of my doll boxes unless it's a full set. So, you don't really have to ship the doll in a box the way that the company does. You can just put it in the shipping box provided you wrap it well. But, you know, it's up to you. You also have to consider the conditions in the seller's house. If you're allergic to animals and the person you're buying from owns animals, you might want to consider skipping that sale because you don't want to endanger your health for a hobby if your allergies are bad enough. Also, avoid buying dolls from smokers, I guess unless you're a smoker yourself, because resin is a porous material and it will just suck up the scent of that smoke, and it's not going to leave that doll for a very long time, so your doll is going to have an unattractive scent. Even if the person didn't smoke in the same room as the doll, they can still pick up the scent from their clothing, their possessions, particularly if the dolls are kept in their bedroom. Also, check out their Flickr or whatever picture site that they happen to belong to, if any. Look at the pictures of the doll you want. You can see how it was displayed. Was it displayed in bright sunlight? Was it displayed in a closet? You know, just how does their place look? Stuff like that can help. Now, was your doll packaged well? It's really important that the seller package your doll properly so it come to you with no damage. But what constitutes good packaging? And the doll should be wrapped in a layer of bubble wrap. If it has a valuable face-up, it should have a plastic face guard that prevents the face-up from being touched. The box needs to be sturdy, and there should be enough insulating material in the box that if you shake it, you don't hear clink, 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 clink from the doll moving, because if the doll's moving in the box, it can be damaged just from flailing around in the box.